Hi, this is Jonathan Pettit from Purdue's Center on Religion and Chinese Society. An update from our students' study abroad trip in China. We spent about 6 days in Lanzhou in Gansu province. We studied with students at Lanzhou University from the departments of sociology and religious studies. So we held classes together and discussions together and took a number of field trips together. It was a great time to spend with the students. And we started at the Gansu Provincial Museum, where we looked at a number of artifacts from traditional Chinese culture and Chinese religions. And after that, we went to a ceremony at the riverside of the Yellow River, where a Buddhist monk led about 30 or 40 followers in a practice they call fangshen, which is the idea of letting a number of living beings going back in the wild, in this case, buckets full of eels and fish. So participants in the ritual were each given a small manual that they would follow the monk's words and participate in that as well. After that, we went to the White Stupa Mountain. So this is a city park that overlooks Lanzhou, and there are a number of temples on the hillside. So we kind of stopped at each one and talked with the students from Lanzhou University, especially about the kind of commercial activities that accompany these temples. So consumer culture and material culture. And after the White Stupa Mountain, we went to the so-called birthplace of the Yellow River. So this is the mother of the Yellow River, and ended our day along the riverside and went back to the university. The following day, we started a traditional Chinese market. Looked at the mostly Muslim sellers of meat and the various kind of fruits and vegetables found in the Chinese market. After that, we went to church service at the Shanzi Church in downtown Lanzhou. So we talked with a couple of different ministers, the head minister of the church and his deputy minister. She's pictured there. And we sat through the church service and talked to some of the children and adults of the church. And around noon, after we finished at the church, we then walked over to the nearby city god temple of Lanzhou. So this is used to be a huge marketplace of sundry items, but in the past couple of years they started converting it into a kind of Taoist temple. There was a priestess that was on duty that day, and we talked to her for a little bit. And after we had lunch, we went over to the Guanyin Mosque, which is also in downtown Lanzhou. So this is a great experience to see one of the largest mosques in Lanzhou in northwest China, one of the most influential academies of Islamic learning in China. So we met with the imam and toured the mosque grounds and saw their kindergarten and learning facilities. Um, and on the first floor of the mosque are a number of different shops, so about 20 different shops. So we went through the stores and focused on the kind of objects that are sold in the mosque and help sustain the, um, the mosque of that part of Lanzhou. And we went to the Taoist Temple, the Guanyin Temple, about a 10-minute walk away from the mosque. And it was really great. The head of the Gansu Taoist Association, the Daojiao Xiehui, gave us a tour. So he met with us. You see him pictured there on the left, and the head priest of the temple in the center there. After that, we went to a popular Taoist temple, the Tai Ching Gong. So this is kind of the polar opposite of the Baiyun Temple, which had a long history. It was a very new temple. The following day we had class all morning, and then we went over to the Nanguan, the South Pass Mosque on the south side of downtown. One of the students in Lanzhou University's religious studies gave us a tour, and we met with the imam of this temple and talked with him for a couple hours and had a really great conversation with the people around the mosque. This mosque is a great relationship with foreigners. There are a couple of Americans that have taught English classes here, and they're affiliated through Lanzhou University. So it was a very productive meeting, and it was a really wonderful chance to see a less touristy site of so kind of a very homespun version of Muslim culture in Lanzhou. We were very impressed by that visit. The next day we had class again, and then went to the Wuquan Park, the Five Spring Park. that's on the south side of Lanzhou city. So there's a number of music troupes and actors and calligraphers and all sorts of wonderful things happening in the park. But there are also a number of really interesting temples. So the Buddhist Association of Lanzhou is at one of the temples, and we met with the head monk there and watched some of their art projects in progress. And after talking about all the kind of devotional activities that happen in that Buddhist monastery, and after touring their kitchen and watching them how they prepare their various vegetarian meals, we continued upward on the mountain and saw some of the other projects in the works. So here's a statue of the Guanyin Bodhisattva, about 10 stories tall, that's in current construction. There's also a Tibetan monastery on the mountainside. So we spent a long time with one of the professor that's at Lanzhou University, also from Shandong Technical University, who expert in esoteric Buddhism, gave us a tour of this monastery, and this prepared us very well because the next stop after Lanzhou is in Xining in Qinghai province. So there'll be a number of Tibetan monasteries that we'll go to. And so towards the end of this trip, we were able to go to the Santai Pavilion that overlooks the whole city of Lanzhou, and there's not only is it a panoramic view, but there's also a very large temple that's recently been built on top of the mountain. So this gave us a great chance to see a temple that's only a few years old, and kind of the new religious activities that are going on in public spaces, and also gave us one last chance to spend time with the students from Lanzhou University. And I think all of us were very impressed by their insights and their warm reception, and I think gave us some really great memories and conversations about Chinese religions. So next stop will be Xining in Qinghai province.